I love action filmmaking. You know, those kind of shots that get you right there in the action. So today, I'm gonna show you how to make a 360 swivel helmet that'll get you great 360 shots. Here's what you're gonna need. A helmet with a hole in the top of it, a 10cm bolt that fits through that hole, a large washer, 4 nuts, and 4 little washers, all being able to fit over your bolt, with the washers having a little bit more leeway. Some scissors, some heavy-duty tape, and of course, 2 action cameras. Now, last thing you're gonna need is a bit of PVC pipe, which I actually got cut and drilled at my local hardware store. It's 90 centimeters, and that drill hole there in the middle, it's the exact same size as my bolt. So it goes straight through the middle with a little bit of leeway around. Now, once you put this big pole on the top of your helmet, it's not a piece of safety equipment anymore. So don't use it to ride your bike or skateboard, just use it to make movies. Get your bolt and put it through the hole in your helmet, making sure that the base of it is inside your helmet and the top goes through here. Put it like that. Get your large washer, place that over the top. Get one of your nuts, screw that all the way down until it's flush with your big washer, and make sure it's nice and tight. Just keeps screwing on. There we go. Then you're gonna get 2 of your smaller washers, put those over the top. Then you're gonna get your piping, slide that on. 2 more washers. Now what those washers are gonna do, they're actually gonna help your bit of pipe move around. So by having another nut on top of that without the washers, it would actually stop it from moving around. And then a nut, and you're gonna screw this one down till it's not very tight, but enough so your PVC pipe can actually move. You could just leave it like that, but when you spin it around, that will actually unscrew itself because of the spinning motion. So what you want to do is get one of your other nuts and screw that on over the top. And this is going to become your locking nut, so that won't actually screw off anymore. And if you really want to go hardcore, chuck another one on top of that, just for the look of it. And then spin it around, look at that, woohoo! Yes, it works! Just be careful because that is spinning around. Now what you want to do is get your action cameras. What you're going to do with these little guys is, you're going to place one at each end. They're actually going to be sitting upside down. It's a very technical way we're actually attaching it today. We're going to be using heavy-duty tape. So get some tape. Yeah, you know, this is very hard work. Cut it. And then literally just hang it upside down. Find your spot. It usually helps if you've got somebody else helping you with this, because they can hold it for you while you spin it around. And attach it like that, and it's stuck on. Now what you want to do is add a couple more layers of this because you don't want it really flying off anywhere while you have it spinning through the air around your head. But now just do the same thing on the other side. Place that around there. Now, you may have noticed that the action cameras are actually upside down. That's because you want to film your face. If you had them the other way up, the right side up, you'd be filming the other action camera, and you don't want that. You want to be capturing the action happening around this level of your face and your body. And what you can do later on, so it's the right side up, the vision, is when you get it to your computer at home, just flip it around and it'll be perfect. The reason we're using 2 action cameras is so we can get twice as much vision. The bonus is they weigh the same, which will balance your 360 helmet, giving you some smooth shots. Now all you have to do is angle your cameras down, turn them on, buckle up, and get filming. Oh! And just watch out for obstacles along your way. Sorry guys, excuse me. Just make sure that you point it this way when you're walking through doorways.
name is Ashley. I'm in Year 10 at St Mary's Star of the Sea College in Wollongong, and this is my artwork called The Dreamer as a part of an 8-part body of work. Our class was just experimenting with different styles, so I chose to experiment with surrealism. I mainly used watercolours, I used watercolour pencils, and I also used pigment ink markers. The hardest part was probably trying to find certain techniques to get what I wanted. So with the splatters, I used straws and I blew on it to get like a certain effect, and I tried to get salt to find a certain texture. It kind of turned out how I planned. I made many mistakes, but I envisioned something and I tried to plan it, but then it wouldn't work out the same way. But I guess like the beauty of watercolor is with water, you can just not erase it, but you can manipulate it in any way you want. So I was able to change my ideas in many times. The idea behind my artwork was just to show people that we need to harness our imagination and our creativity.
So much wastage ends up in our oceans, and most of it is this, plastic bottle tops and bottles. I'm going to show you a really cool way to make a plastic bottle top bilby sculpture. This is what you'll need: a glue gun. These get really hot, so make sure you have an adult around. A bunch of different shapes, sizes and colours of plastic bottles, some bottle tops, scissors and some tape. Okay, now I need the biggest bottle to be my body for my bilby. And when I saw this, I thought that was perfect because bilbies have these big, long, pointy noses, and this kind of has sort of that shape. Obviously, this is an abstract piece of art, so it doesn't need to be anatomically correct. You can have fun with it. The biggest feature of a bilby is its nose, so I'm going to start there, and these are perfect for it. Actually, this one's probably even better because it's a bit pointier. So get your glue gun, just put some glue around here, watch your fingers. Hot glue dries really quickly, so you only need to hold it there for a few seconds, just till it starts to set, and that should be fine. Yep. Our bilby needs eyes, but we don't just want normal plain eyes. I want to jazz them up a little bit, so I think I'll give her some long, beautiful eyelashes with this. I'm going to cut into it. Now, this is when you really need an adult around because cutting into plastic can be quite slippery. Just pierce a hole into the side of the bottle and then just cut all the way around. Next, I'll just cut a little bit out. It's just easier to manage. To do the eyelashes, they're going to kind of wrap around the circular shape of what we're using as the eyeball, making it up a little bit as I go, which you can too. There's no rules to this kind of art. It's really sculptural and organic. I'm just cutting strips like that. Give it a bit of a haircut. You'll have a shape kind of like that. So we need to make one more set of those. Exactly the same process. Don't worry if this set isn't exactly the same as the one you did before. It doesn't need to match perfectly. Now I'm going to glue my eyelashes onto the eye. Just put some glue sort of halfway around the curve of the lid and bend the plastic around, hold it down for a few seconds to set. Be really careful of your fingers here. You'll get these stringy bits, but they just kind of come off. And we'll do the second one. And I'm just going to curl the eyelashes up a little bit. All right, our eyelashes are nice and curled. Let's stick on our eyes. Looks pretty good. And do the other side. Okay, now the bilby's face is almost done, but I think you just need some nice long whiskers. So using the same piece of plastic that we used for the eyelashes, in the exact same way, we're just going to make longer cuts. And we'll do, I don't know, maybe 3 whiskers each side, whatever you want. And just cut across to get rid of the excess plastic. Nice long whiskers, and to separate, to give you 2 sets of whiskers, just like that. And now you've got 2 long sets of whiskers, and we'll just stick them on. Face is done, so let's give our bilby some feet. I'm going to use big silver lids for the back legs and these smaller ones for the front. You're kind of building this thing as you go. I am making it up as I go. There's not really a right or a wrong way to do it. This will help keep the bilby stable so it won't fall over. And do the front legs. Now I'm going to add some little feet, little bilby feet. I think that's what they look like, little clawy things. I'll use this good purple plastic again. Same as before, cut it down and cut around. Remembering to get an adult to do this part for you. Now we'll just do, I don't know, about that big, about an inch. Cut a little sort of, almost a triangle, not quite. So it's got like a flat top like that. And then we'll do some little, I think bilbies have claws. Yeah, they would. This bilby's got really weird feet. Maybe yours will have different ones. So I'm gonna make 3 more of those. And they're just going to stick under the legs like that. Now let's glue them on. Cool, so he's got all his feet on. Now we're going to do the really big bilby ears. When I looked at this bottle, I thought this part could be really interesting. So same technique as when we cut through the purple bottle. We're just going to pierce a hole about here, have an adult do it for you. Cut around that. And I'm just going to cut around here because I don't need the lid. Well, cut up the center. So I'm just going to cut halfway along the curve again, all the way to the top. So we've got 2 pieces, 1 for each ear. Just sort of squeeze it together, and this will be the bottom part of the ear, like where it comes out of the bilby's head. And then we're going to go upwards. So I'm sort of just sculpting it with my scissors as I go. You can always cut off more, but you can't put back, so just go a little bit at a time. You could have pointy ears, round ears, short ears, really long ears. It's totally up to you. But I'm pretty happy with that shape. So now, if you just squeeze the bottom together like that, grab your tape that you've got. I'm using yellow tape. You can use whatever you want. This just helps to hold the curve of the ear because the hot glue might not be strong enough to hold that. And just wind it 3 or 4 times. There's 1 ear, and we'll try to copy that and do the same with the second. There's our pair of ears, let's glue them on. Just hold the ear in place. These might need a few seconds longer because they're a bigger piece of plastic than the other pieces. All right, now the last element of our bilby is the tail. This bit's really easy. I'm just going to glue a bunch of bottle tops together in a tower. It doesn't matter if the tail starts to curve because tails normally do curve. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight. And for the final touch, I'm going to use that sauce bottle lid from earlier and use it as the tip of his tail. So it sort of tapers at the end. And now we'll attach it to the back of the bilby. Put a bit of glue on it because it's a bit of a heavy piece. And press it onto the back, hold it down. And if you see that you don't have enough glue, just add a little bit more on. Ta-da! There it is, your very own recycled bottle top bilby. He's so cute.
Torn or scrunched up pieces of paper are often rejected or thrown away, but it's actually perfect for this next project. We're making torn flower paper collages. All you need is white cardboard, some coloured paper, a glue stick, and a pencil. Now, using your pencil, draw a rough sketch of your flowers and your leaves. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a guide for us when we're tearing our paper later. Once you're happy with your sketch, start tearing pieces of green paper. So whatever colours you choose to go with, make sure there's 2 shades of each. For instance, with the green, I'm going with a light shade and a darker shade of green. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. They roughly line up with the stems in your sketch. Now, the reason I'm sticking the stems down first is that when I come to paste down the flowers will sit on top of the stems, giving it a realistic look. So for this piece here, I'm going to try following that pencil mark. Now, to add to the layering effect, just fold over the blade of grass here and glue it down. Using the 2 shades of green creates the illusion of light and form. Now, don't worry about being too neat with your tearing. Okay, and I'm trying to get some really thin pieces here. After your stem and leaves are complete, start tearing out the coloured pieces of paper that you've chosen for your flowers. Now with the petals, you want it to be a rectangular oval shape with a point at the bottom. Let's place on the image, and if you're not happy with the scale, you can always just tear it off and work with it until you're happy with a nice fit. That's a fun thing about making torn paper collages. Okay, and for the centerpiece of the flower, I'm going to go for a really long and thin piece and just stick it in the middle. Sweet. Just going to position it here, press down. Okay, looks good. No 2 flowers are ever the same, so yours don't have to be either. Give each one a slight variation. That looks about right, I guess. Yep. Now your final step is to tear off any pieces of green cardboard that might be hanging off the bottom. This is such a simple but creative project and looks good enough to be hung on any wall.
I'm in Melbourne with Alice from the National Gallery of Victoria, and we are standing in front of a very important sculpture with a very tricky name. How do you say it again, Alice?
Avalokiteshvara.
Nice. So what is it?
This is a bronze sculpture from Tibet from the 17th century, and it features a character from the Buddhist religion called Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara is the Lord of Compassion. When Avalokiteshvara witnessed all the suffering in the world, his head just split into 11 different heads, all looking in different directions, and he sprouted 1,000 helping arms and hands, each with an eye of infinite vision in the palm, all to seek out and help people in need.
That is a lot of hands. How would something like this have been made?
Well, this is a bronze sculpture and it's been cast from a mould. That means that the people that worked on this sculpture had to first carve it out in wax. Then what they would do is put that into a vat of clay or plaster of Paris. They would melt out the wax, the molten bronze metal poured into the mould. Once that was dry, we can see that it's been painted with gold leaf and it's also had gemstones embedded.
I can imagine that would have taken a long time.
Yeah, but worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Thanks, Alice.
My name's Olivia Lee and I won the Young Archies in the 13 to 15 age category, and I painted this portrait of Margot, my twin sister. When I thought about who I wanted to paint, she's so influential in my life. She's the immediate choice that I went for. I've never done a full artwork of her, so I thought I would challenge myself by doing this. I mainly draw, so the thing with watercolour and paint was getting that detail which I get in drawing. So I started with a sketch. I used different layers of watercolour to create different tones and colours that I wanted. In a photo that I had of her, I had this umbrella and I'd done it in previous drawings, so I thought I might throw it in there, add a little bit more atmosphere. Overall, I'm happy with it. If I had more time, I think I would have practiced that a bit more. I've entered the competition before about 4 years ago. It was the first year that they did the Young Archies, and I did my little sister page. It's like my first art competition that I entered, so it was interesting to see that process of having a deadline. I'm proud of my artwork. I didn't think that it would get this far, so I'm really happy that it has. When I won, it was a complete shock. And then when everyone congratulated me and stuff, it was like, wow, it really sunk in. I think it's been a good starting point for me to produce more art and find my own style.